Enter Abraham's tent, where it all began, where the promises of God were spoken by angels, and where the troubles of man found divine answers. Listen now as experts on Judaism, Christianity, and Islam discuss the intersections of religion, politics, and power. No secrets, no agendas, no retreat. With our political correctness surgically removed, join us now in Abraham's tent.
Hello, I'm Cory Miller, and this is Abraham's Tent. I'm here with my friend Dr. Mark Christian, and thanks for being with us today for today's episode. Dr.
Good
Mark,
to be here, yeah.
Well, we're tickled to be here, and today we were going to talk about media, something that is near and dear to all of our hearts. And
everybody loves the media.
Everybody loves the media, every aspect of the media.
And they are very trustworthy, by the way.
They are second only to politicians,
to none.
probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Just behind politicians on the trust factor. So part of the reason we're doing this is I wanted to talk specifically about something that CNN was doing right before Trump took office, President Trump took office a day or two before the inauguration, which was what's referred to as dog whistling, which is essentially telling people, I'm not telling you this for any reason, but if you wanted to take some action on this,
They didn't say take action.
They didn't say take action. They just said, if somebody did
have lawyers,
it, that might be okay. Yeah, exactly. So what they did is they said, if somebody were to assassinate President Trump, we're not saying to.
Right before the inauguration.
Right before inauguration. We're not saying that they should, but if they did, this guy would be the one that would be the stand-in, the designated survivor, so to speak, for a certain time period. Now, obviously, that would go away. Trump won, and something would get figured out. But the fact that these freaking people at CNN would even come up with a report like that, to what end? Who benefits with that kind of information? What do you think, Dr. Mark?
It's a full. Again, what they are trying to say is this is another fake scenario that can take place. If right before the inauguration, President-elect Trump at that time and Vice President-elect Pence would be assassinated right before the inauguration, so President Obama will continue being a president and he can nominate the survivor to be the president for quite some time. So basically they are trying to give a false hope again to those who are crying at their homes when they see the inauguration taking place.
We've got one more chance.
And that reminds me with the time when the electoral vote was going on and Bruce Springsteen comes out on TV.
Springsteen.
I have an accent, that. Springsteen. Coming out and says, we have another hope, and Michael Moore comes says, I will pay your fine, I will spend the jail time for the electoral,
and I will pay you in jelly donuts, said Michael Moore.
So this is the kind of things that's going on, and in a very serious note, this tells you what to expect from the media in the next 4 years.
Absolutely.
We're going to be expecting a media that is very biased, that is taking sides, that they will act as if they are the higher standard and they are the one who knows the real information.
Almost like they have more integrity than the politicians.
Absolutely. They will always act like that.
They need to remember that second place, that second tier that they sit in.
Absolutely. Whenever I see somebody acting with this kind of a supreme and supremacist mentality, it triggers a whole bunch of feelings in my heart immediately, because I have been around lots of people who thinks that they are supreme, and this is one of the things. Media thinks that, I'm not talking about you specifically, but there are lots of people in the media, especially in CNN, they have the news and anybody else it doesn't. And how can we deal with this?
We are the news.
Absolutely. And when we are dealing with this tells you how you need to do the effort to learn about what's going on really, and to be paying attention.
Know the difference between opinion and fact.
Absolutely. And CNN always presented as facts. And we have those kind of Jack Tapper and and all those nice guys, and they act like they have the authority, and and the bitterness in the media is beyond anything. And as a matter of fact, if you know about how the media can change the mindset of nations, and it is the biggest tool in the hands of dictators in general, and in any kind of a dictatorship, the media is the main tool in the hand.
Absolutely.
Many people in America didn't live under any kind of dictatorship. Praise the Lord for that, and I'm happy that many Americans didn't. But if you look at it from a perspective of somebody lived through and underneath many dictatorship before, many Americans think that dictatorships succeed by the iron fist, which is not true. They succeed by a propaganda machine and a media.
The velvet glove.
Absolutely. Because, the iron fist cannot beat everybody else to death. They beat only those who try to act as a smarty pants and try to get out of the umbrella of the propaganda machine.
Don't act like a smarty pants.
Do act like a smarty pants, because in America we do not have the iron fist yet. But we have the propaganda machine.
The iron fist is still covered with the velvet glove.
Absolutely. So let us be smarty pants in America, because our constitution entitled us to be smarty pants.
Absolutely.
Because it is a nation of we the people still, not we the media and not we the kings. It with the people. So we need to pay attention to those details, and we need to pay attention to this. And the other thing you talked about, actually, before we started doing this episode, you talked about what took place during the hearings.
Patty Murphy.
Yeah. So
it's another one. What's his name? Tom Price?
Yes.
I believe. Former senator, I believe himself. Obama nominated him to head up HHS, Health and Human Services. So he's before the panel, the committee, that interviews him about, to try to grill him. This gal, Patty Murphy, comes out and accuses him. Now let's set the stage. Before he took this position, he had to put all his possessions, his investments, into, we'll say, essentially a blind trust, where he doesn't have control of what the investments are doing, where the assets are being spent, what's being invested in, all that kind of thing. It's common knowledge. That's what happens, so that you don't have any kind of a conflict of interest. Knowing that, she accuses him on the floor of the Senate, the Senate floor, probably in a judiciary room of some sort of, not judiciary. Anyway.
A few details, not important.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Somewhere.
She accuses this guy of basically manipulating the information that he had to his benefit, of investing in something and then changing the policy to benefit himself. Unbelievable. And she knew that she was doing it. She knew full well that this was the truth, and she went ahead and did this kind of thing. So,
Show. Putting
it
a
is
show.
a show. It's to try to remain relevant.
Yes.
It's try to drum up something in your name.
And throw some meat to the media later on that they can use against the nominee. And another example you mentioned earlier about Bernie Sanders. Isn't it? I don't know. We are still feeling the burn, I guess.
We were a hair away from this guy. I mean, truly, but we know what Hillary was. I mean, she's when you watch The Wizard of Oz and the house came down, that was probably Hillary's sister, and then Hillary came in because it was the good witch that got crushed. Anyway,
I don't know that stuff,
yeah, it's good stuff, and it really was. Anyway, Hillary was not a good person. We're clear on that. She was a criminal. However,
you cannot say that.
Because of that, we avoided Bernie Sanders. This guy, the fact that he's been in elected office for so long and knows so little, he doesn't know anything about economics. He was who was it that he was questioning?
It doesn't matter, but here is the thing. As a matter of fact, that it brings me to this point: is when President Obama, in his farewell speech in Chicago, and he talked about the new generation and the generation that is about to come and overrun all of us in America and be the main voting power in America that will vote the next president. They are the same people, as a matter of fact, that they were supporting Bernie Sanders. And those kind of new generation are kind of lost into those ideas of it's a free college, it's a free lunch, everything is free, and we have to love each other. And I absolutely agree that we all love to each other. Who doesn't like love? Love is great, right? But the ideas that they are coming up with is based on no facts whatsoever. And it is time for us to overturn this kind of narrative that were able to support somebody like Bernie Sanders to go all the way to be almost being the next president, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Hillary did anything good in her life, it was rigging the system so she can get Bernie Sanders out. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well,
we have to give her
exactly
that.
right.
Yeah.
If anything, you know, they were handing out. Obama was handing out all the what were the medals? The Presidential Medal of Freedom, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that. They were like Cracker Jack toys that you'd win at that point. They were giving them to everybody. If anybody gets one, she should get one.
Absolutely.
For keeping us all from feeling the burn. But you're right. You know, what they've been doing is controlling the narrative as it relates to education for at least the last 25, 30 years. Fits right in with the Alinsky rules for radicals types of thinking. If you can program and you can control the future, when the future are our children, you've won.
Absolutely. But we have to take the step to make the argument for the next generation about our ideals.
This is what you talked about earlier. You know, in a few episodes ago, I believe you touched on continuing the fight.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
this is part and parcel of that. Is not saying, well, it's in President Trump's hands now. We got him here.
No, this is the fight.
This is the fight.
Because America is going to be in the hand. Those are going to be the leaders of the future.
Yeah.
And those are going to be the voting power of the future. And if you are not going to make the arguments to this kind of coming generation about the ideals that we believe in, the real foundation of this country.
The left certainly will.
Oh yeah, they do.
They'll make the
and they
argument.
do based on no facts.
Yeah,
absolutely
based
no
on
facts.
Freebies.
Yes, freebies. You know, I'm going to give you free college. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to take from the billionaires and the millionaires. How much billionaires and millionaires are going to pay, and how long they're going to stay billionaires and millionaires are going to take their money.
Details.
Yes. So we have to make the argument, and I think the argument can be made because our ideas are based on facts, and it is very easy to make the argument, and we have to be very well versed in what we believe in, or we find somebody who is well versed in the ideas that you believe in, and share it with your kids and your brothers and your sisters and the coming generation of America, because it is the fight for the soul of this great nation,
for the world.
Absolutely.
Because as America goes, so goes the world.
Absolutely. And some people don't like, you know, even that generation doesn't like that. They say America has been a bad nation, America has not, so and so. You know, if you read in history, just open one book in history and see how America changed the trajectory of the whole universe and the whole planet, and from, you know, people who are okay to be run over by other nations and okay to be living under dictatorship, to people looking for freedom and independence, and the wave of independence movement all together, and the power of America that was able to keep, you know, people in good place and so forth, then you'll understand what really America have changed the world in which way.
But they're being told that America's bad.
Well, make the argument.
Yeah,
go to history,
absolutely.
read it. Yeah,
it is what it is. Well, folks, that's an episode for today. We really appreciate you being with us again here at Abraham's Tent. For myself, Cory Miller, Dr. Mark Christian, we appreciate you being here. Check us out on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, and have a great day. Thanks a lot.